Meow, it is totally the 2nd of January, 2013. Not only did we make it through all of 2012, but we've officially survived the first day of 2013. Cars driving by. So last night in my dream, I was given an opportunity to deal with obligations that I feel for other people, or that I feel when other people ask me to do things. Some watching this video will find this topic familiar. But even an obligation for helping someone heal, who has sought you for help, or has sought maybe you and a couple other people for help. There can never be an obligation to heal. All that does is create that expectation, right? You go to someone to aid in their healing. Yeah, that's okay. That's the other part, is that everybody is only healing themselves. So all you're doing is going to aid in the healing of another person, but everything really just comes from the inside of that person. So if you are going back to that person because you feel obligated to heal them, then you're not following your flow of whether or not you're actually able to, or whether or not you have the extra energy set aside to lend to them, or maybe you are not paying attention to whether or not you're in the mind state of an aid of healing. Does that make sense? So yeah, and when there's sort of this fine line to cross, or to maybe not cross. I don't know. There's this one line of man, it's hard to keep a stream when cars are driving by. Oh, okay, so like what you do when you feel that obligation, or you recognize the obligation before you go, aid someone, help someone. There's this one of like, well, you have contributed and developed an expectation on your end. So, it is really selfish. It is inherently selfish, and by definition selfish, to retract that help that you've promised through your kind of submission to another's expectation of you. Because that's another thing that happens, is that if you're consistently there every time, and you're not having communication about making sure that they are not making sure they're not pinning their healing on you, because that's disempowering for that person, right? It's even like, even for someone who just wants to bitch all the time. And that's, bitching is different than, like having a bunch of things that they need to process, right? But just bitching and just like staying in that negative place, it's not really for anybody to tell that person that they're doing it wrong, because everybody's just doing whatever it is that they're doing, and that's all that it can be. And if they ask, I guess, then there is kind of an appropriate time to say, well, like, this is the way that I would do it, and these are the reasons I would do it, and these are the examples of times that I've done it in another way where it wasn't as efficient, and so I have happily landed at this one place, and that's okay. Really, whatever you do is okay, and you don't have to listen to anything that I say. This is just what I learned from my dream last night. But But yeah, I mean, still going to them if you're not in a good state and you realize that you've created these expectations and you realize that you feel obligated and maybe that's the only reason why you're going, then just fucking communicate, guys. It's this is the year of open communication and focus, I think. And I think that I mean, I know I definitely did. I'm sure many others did too. Last year, had kind of like a crash course lesson in open communication. But I think I think this is the year of really being able to openly communicate fearlessly. And but it's a commitment, you know. It's a commitment every single time it comes up of whether or not to dodge responsibility or dodge perceived responsibility or just ignore something because it makes you feel uncomfortable or it makes you feel obligated or something, or not, you know, or have some balls and say something about it. Not that you're a bad person if you don't, but just, I mean, even if we could all just recognize when we're not openly communicating and we can take responsibility for it and not always put off the responsibility onto somebody else. Because if that's the way you go about your life, is picking out the flaws in everybody else and making it so it's not your fault, making it so you don't have anything to work on, all these other people have things to work on, then that's shitty. And that's and it's I mean, it's not just shitty, but it's just not genuine, you know. I would like to think that this is the year of authenticity as well. Open communication, authenticity, and focus. But I don't know for sure. So that's what I think. Focusing on what you need in yourself. Focus on what is going to do it for you to really catalyze the earth that you're trying to create. And yeah, I mean, let's all just empower ourselves. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, that's all.